Why play Caitlyn Bot Lane? Well, she has the longest ranged attacks in the game. She is amazing at sieging and zoning enemies. She is very strong in the early and mid game, and she brings great sustain damage and burst damage. However, she is ridiculously squishy, especially if CC'd, and she can't cut through tanks as well as other AD carries. Caitlyn's passive is her basic attacks grant her a stack of headshot, and when attacking from a brush she gets 2 stacks instead. When fully stacked, her next attack is a headshot which deals additional damage. Caitlyn's Q is a straight line skill shot which deals damage to enemies hit. It deals full damage to the first enemy hit and half damage to all other enemies. However, if an enemy has stood in her W, this will always deal full damage against them. Caitlyn's W places an untargetable trap on the floor which arms after 1 second. Enemy champions that stand on this trap are rooted for 1.5 seconds. Caitlyn then gets a free headshot attack against that target at double her normal range. These work on an ammo system and Caitlyn can carry 3, 4 or 5 depending on the rank of the ability. Caitlyn's E is a straight line skill shot which deals damage to and slows the first enemy hit. In addition, it also fires Caitlyn back a small distance. Similar to the trap, if an enemy was hit by a net, Caitlyn also gets a free headshot against them at double her normal range. Caitlyn's ultimate is a point and click ability which causes her to channel a shot for 1 second before shooting it. This will lock onto the enemy, dealing damage. However, other enemy champions can stand in the way of this bullet to take the damage instead. For combos, your basic go-to is to use W into your Q and E as fast as possible into 2 empowered attacks. And your massive combo is use W into your Q. Follow up with 2 auto attacks into a W, then immediately E before following up with your 2 empowered attacks into your ultimate if needed. For matchups, Caitlyn is great into scaling carries who she can easily bully in the early game with her longer range, and she can struggle against champions who can easily run into her, negating her longer range. For runes, take this, lethal tempo is still just too good to ignore. For build orders, start Blade and Pot into a Storm Razor and tier 2 boots. After this, an Infedge and RFC are great pickups before finishing your build with any of these as needed. For skill order, start Q then W then E before maxing Q then W then E, taking ult whenever you can. For summoner spells, take Flash and Heal. Starting the game, you're looking to farm hard and bully hard, as when you're able to bully your opponent, your farm becomes easier and theirs becomes far more dangerous for them. As you simply outrange every opponent you're going to go against, when they walk within your range, just shoot them. As long as you sit at the edge of your range, they won't be able to auto attack you back and will be forced to use abilities if they want to trade. Also, when you have headshot available, look to hit it into your opponent. As it is very telegraphed when you do have this available, it's often a great tool to zone your opponent away too. With Caitlyn, if possible, it's often a good idea to push your opponent in. Keep the river warded against any ganks and then poke your opponent under their tower, making life hell for them. With the added bonus as well, you'll have easy access to tower plates. When you hit level 6, your power spike isn't as strong as other bot laners, but you do have access to a good chunk more damage to throw at them. Entering the mid game, take your tower as soon as possible and rotate mid. Caitlyn is insanely good at sieging, so the sooner you do this, the better. Look to pressure the mid outer tower, take it down and open the map up fully for your team. And of course, being in the center of the map gives you easy roams to fights and objectives. Entering late game teamfights, you want to play as the backline carry. Your job is to simply sit back and shoot anything in front of you. Use traps to zone your opponents and follow up CC, and use E to keep yourself safe.